Hello and welcome to another episode of the After 90 Talk. I think this is episode number 4. I'm here. I'm your host, Ivan Garcia, and I'm here with my co-host, Andres. Andrew, how are you?
Good, good. And you?
Doing well, man. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
Back at it one more time.
Yeah.
So we want to get right into it. This is another edition of the European show. So for this episode, we will get right into the action over in Europe. This week we will cover the La Liga first because it's heating up, right? It's really heating up with the game specifically that took place this weekend with the Madrid teams, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. The league started this Saturday with a bunch of games, but the most critical game was postponed, the Barcelona Osasuna game. I'm not sure if you heard why it was postponed. I really haven't gotten any news or dived into the reason for it being postponed, but it was postponed. So Barcelona has one game on hand versus the other teams in the top of the league in the Madrid teams.
Yeah.
Again, some of the action from Saturday. Another important game on Saturday. That we want to cover here is the Valencia versus Valladolid game, with Valencia taking a victory from Valladolid at the Estadio Mestalla, where Valencia plays. With a 2-1 victory, they climbed out of the relegation, so it was an important win for them. Elsewhere in the league on Sunday, Getafe beating Atletico Madrid 2-1 in Madrid. Another Madrid classic between the two crosstown rivals. With the victory from Getafe, Atletico Madrid dropping points, and they also drop in the leaderboards. So they dropped because they had Real Madrid right on their heels. In fact, on Sunday today, Real Madrid hosted Valladolid, Rayo Vallecano, and they took the victory 2-1 in that match. And again, they surpassed Atletico Madrid. Another one of the important matchups of the league, La Liga, this week on Sunday. Athletic Bilbao in action again, facing Mallorca after their loss against Roma in the Europa League, in the Champions League, and then this time 1-1 versus Mallorca. Another one of the teams that we wanted to cover is Real Betis. They continue to climb. Another victory for them versus Las Palmas, 1-0 in that matchup today. And then just to finish off the action from today in La Liga, Real Sociedad versus Sevilla, 1-0 to Sevillanos. There's still one more game to play, Andrew, in this match week in Spain, Espanyol versus Girona. That match will taking place tomorrow. But let's get into Getafe versus Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid with their loss again, losing the second place in the Liga, in the race for the La Liga title. They took the lead close to the end of the match.
Yeah.
With a goal from Sorloth.
Yeah.
And then Angel Correa inexplicably making himself expelled from the game, and with a red card in the 88th minute. It gave Getafe, I think, the window to go on and beat them in the end, and practically in the end of the match, in the 89th minute and the 90th minute, taking the victory from the Colchoneros.
Yeah, I mean, Getafe did get the advantage. It is just kind of a stupid red card for Correa. And I mean, that shows that even in a title race like this, that's heating up really quick, you got to be perfect. You can't make simple mistakes.
For real, yeah.
And it's just a heartbreak for Atleti. I think they've worked really, really hard and they stepped up this year. And just for them to lose points like this, it's kind of upsetting. I know that El Cholo is going to be pretty upset about this huge loss, and yeah, I mean, they dropped the third now. So
yeah, so they got to turn the page. They got to focus on the midweek match against Real Madrid, of another crucial match for them. So let's hope they can do that quickly, right?
Yeah.
And then they stay in Madrid. This time it'll be at their own stadium. On today's matchup, a lot of or again, as usual for Atletico Madrid, South American players: Julian Alvarez, Rodrigo de Paul, Simeone, and Jose Maria Jimenez, and on as a sub, I guess. Angel Correa, but then did not playing the rest of the match after the 88th minute. Also, we're in Madrid, Real Madrid, doing their job. Continuing to push and get points to challenge this Real Madrid to this Barcelona team. With the win, they climbed up to the second number 2, and they're tied on points with Barcelona. But with again Barcelona with a game in hand due to this weekend's postponed match. Early on in the match over in Madrid versus Rayo Vallecano, Kylian Mbappe was scoring a great goal, just showing his quality and that his form is continuing to improve. He should have had more goals. I think he had those opportunities to score more, but didn't. I think this Real Madrid team, they always have that potential in games to score more, but for some reason, for just bad decision making or selfishness of the players, they end up not scoring as many goals as they should with their star power.
Yeah, I think a lot of the games that they've played, not just in La Liga but in Champions League and in many performances that they had, I think that's one of the biggest, this the thing that they lack the most is finishing. This team has a lot of potential to score scoring games that are 5, 6, 7. Especially with a front three like with Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Mbappe. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a lot of these players have kind of dipped in form this year. I think since last season they stepped up hugely, winning La Liga, winning the Champions League, and I think winning the Copa del Rey as well. So I think some of that star, that power they had last season, that form kind of dipped this season. It's kind of unlucky, but I mean they still get the win. They get the win at home against a pretty difficult Rayo Vallecano. They're not a very easy team to beat, especially at home. Luckily they played away, or in this case Real Madrid's home. But yeah, I mean Vinicius and Mbappe getting a goal, it's gonna help them carry more confidence heading into the Champions League second leg, and it just calls for a good match now that Atleti loses and are pretty down in the dumps for losing the game to Getafe, and obviously not having to face Real Madrid at their home. So it kind of seems like they need a win to really put faith in this project that Simeone is putting on. So it's going to make up for a really good game on, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for a pretty beautiful match.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Jude Bellingham returning for the Real Madrid team. So the Englishman, a very important player for this Real Madrid team. He does have goals. He is able to carry the ball well. He's a huge presence in the box and on the field. He's just a huge person.
Yeah.
So it is important for him to return and then to be playing games and contributing to Real Madrid's title run.
Yeah, maybe he's the solution to going into Atleti. I mean, that's a very, very big step up from a Dani Ceballos and Modric. So it'd be interesting to see Jude back after a couple weeks off. But I mean, I think he's gonna do the same thing he's done and make a huge impact in the game, then do something that's gonna be very helpful for Real Madrid.
Real Madrid also rotating players in preparation of the midweek match. Courtois not a starter. David Alaba getting some minutes. Jude Bellingham obviously getting to return back on the pitch. And then another side note: the Brazilians, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo both starting for Real Madrid this weekend. I think that covers our La Liga coverage for this week. Again, just to round off the standings, Barcelona still at number 1, tied on points with number 2 Real Madrid, but Barcelona with a game on hand. With the loss, Atletico Madrid dropped to 56 points, and Athletic Club only able to salvage 1 point from this week's action, and they stay at 49 points. Then rounding off the Europa League, Villarreal and Betis followed close by Mallorca. And then down in the relegation zone, the teams that are virtually in the second division, Valladolid and Las Palmas, currently in the 19th and 20th spot. And then Alves dropped down into the 18th position, with 26 points. And then the crucial, Valencia team, one of the legendary teams in the country of Spain, with their victory, 27 points out of the relegation zone. So it's crucial for them to remain, their aspirations to remain in the La Liga, the
Yeah.
top flight in Spain. And then, and nephew, if you're okay with that, we'll move on to the action over in the English Premier League.
I did want to point out though, the reason Barcelona actually didn't play was because like minutes leading into the game, one of their doctors, their first team doctors, actually passed away in the evening. So that's why they canceled the game. It's expected that the players didn't want to play due to respect to him. I think he was actually a pretty big part of that Barcelona team. He's been there for around 6 to 8 years. And he's obviously a doctor.
Jeez,
and a lot of the players that have come through Barcelona the past couple years, he's been the main man to help them. And obviously, looking back at it now, it makes sense. Obviously, you have Gavi, who's been injured since last season, Pedri. So it looks like he was a big integral part to that Barcelona team. So I think out of respect, they didn't want to play that game. I don't know when it's going to be postponed. I know it's postponed. I don't know when they're going to play again. But yeah, so far as I know, he passed away and it's postponed.
Got it.
So,
Thank you for that information. Yeah, I had not heard on any reason, but I was curious on why it was postponed. I don't know. I just assume weather delays, but thank you for that information. And then finally moving on to the action in the English Premier League for match day 28. Right off the bat, a big match on Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. If you live out here in the West Coast, Nottingham Forest hosting Manchester City, the defending champions, losing to Nottingham Forest. For some of you that that don't follow the English Premier League quite as as much as we do. You might not have heard of Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest is currently the number 3 team in the English Premier League on points. They've been playing very well, getting crucial victories in important grounds, and then doing their job at home. That is one of the reasons why they're number 3. Their coach, Nuno Espiritu Santo, great coach, very underrated. I think he's been doing a lot with very little in the teams that he has been in. I think his spell at Tottenham wasn't lucky or didn't work out. It didn't work out for them. But he continues to do a great job elsewhere. Again, with not big name star players at Nottingham Forest, but just playing as a collective unit. And they were able to beat a very stacked Manchester City squad, and they just did it, with not playing the whole 90 minutes. Manchester City did have some opportunities to go ahead and take the lead. I know Erling Haaland had opportunities in this match, but they weren't able to be clinical, and they weren't able to push the ball, they do the important job, right? Get the ball across the goal line and into the back of the net. And Nottingham Forest was. So good on them, good on them.
It's good to see Callum Hudson-Odoi actually enjoy football. Obviously, he was a big, huge talent at Chelsea coming through them, and he was expected to be the next big thing, not just for Chelsea, but for English football. And obviously, that time there didn't really work well, and I'm glad that he's actually performing at this level now at a team like Nottingham Forest, where they don't really have that much expectations on them, but yet they're surpassing it so much. Okay. Like you were saying with Nuno Espirito Santo, you're completely right. He creates nothing. He made something out of nothing, And this whole team, they're not nothings. They're not they're not bad players, but they're just players who couldn't find the right place at their certain club. And they obviously have Neco Williams, the ex-Liverpool player who couldn't make it to the first team with Trent, but now he's thriving at Nottingham Forest. And another player who I think has surpassed what we could have seen was Anthony Elanga. I think those two wingers on the side and just this team in general are such a unit. They're all performing at a very high level. And I mean, it's not the best City, but still, you beat the what is it called? They were the champions last season. The defending champions. They beat the defending champions at home. And just like what Callum Hudson did against Liverpool, he gets the win against City. So it is a great performance to them. I do want to highlight though Murillo, the Brazilian center back, dude. Dude, last season he looked like the next Rudiger. He would dribble the ball from all the way back, go all the way to the opponent's box, Just fucking shoot it, dude. And he has the balls to do it, dude.
Where was he playing last year?
I think he was either in Brazil. I think he was
okay.
back at. I think he was in his country. And yeah, it was such a weird buy from Nottingham getting a Brazilian center back. But dude, he can honestly play as a winger. He has so much confidence carrying the ball. He does these like tricks, these fucking
He's
flicks.
Brazilian.
I mean, yeah, what do you expect, man? He's Brazilian. He can do whatever. But this whole team in general is just amazing, and the way that they're performing at a high level, it just amazes me as well, dude.
Yeah, no, they're doing a great job. I hope I'm a huge fan of Nuno Espirito Santo, so I wish him nothing but luck. But good fortune in the English Premier League and for his teams to do good. As you mentioned, Nottingham Forest did start the Brazilian Murillo and Nicolas Dominguez from Argentina. So action there from South American players. Another player to highlight for Nottingham Forest that's been huge for them this season is Morgan Gibbs White.
Oh yeah,
the young English player, right? He again, not many expectations on him. He was familiar with Nuno Espirito Santos from his time at Wolves. Was able to bring that to Nottingham Forest and contribute. I guess some leadership. That's what I see from him. I think him knowing the system does help him. Be that leader. And I expect him to continue to get call ups. From the English national team.
Dude, he's a fucking baller, man.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. And then down for Manchester City, as far as South American players, nephew, who are their South American players starting this weekend?
I believe Ederson in goal.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, dude, I
think that was it.
Yeah, right. I don't know too many South American players playing in City. It's mainly just Europeans and stuff. But I do know that Ederson was in net.
You're right.
But I mean, at the same time, do you really expect him to be here next season? I think they're gonna have a whole revamp on their team.
Ederson, I do expect him to be there, but who knows? He has been hurt a lot. Well, moving on from Manchester City, the defending champions losing, but who look like the new champions for the season, Liverpool, doing their job at Anfield. They'll have back-to-back games at Anfield with hosting this weekend's action in the Premier, and then midweek they'll be hosting Champions League duel. But for this weekend, they did their job versus Southampton with a 3-1 victory over the team from London. Southampton went ahead with a goal late in the first half, but then in the second half, Liverpool came out, made adjustments. Their South American players shine. Darwin Núñez, the Uruguayan, with a great goal, and then just continued to press. Got a penalty. Also shout out to the Colombian Lucho Diaz with also playing very well on the left wing. Just some integral play between him and Darwin Núñez, creating opportunities. He looks like a threat. And then Mo Salah scoring 2 penalties to take the lead and then secure the victory.
I mean, they do their job at Anfield as something as you expect. I mean, it kind of was surprising to see Southampton get the first goal at Anfield, especially for how low they are in the table. But I mean, I think Liverpool they always find their way to keep winning, especially at Anfield. And like you said, Salah having 2 penalties, he keeps proving why he is the top candidate for the Ballon d'Or. But I mean, I think that's it. Liverpool are champions for this Premier League. I don't see any way and any how that another team, Arsenal, winning the league. But I mean, congrats that the way they've won it, and the way they performed. I think it's amazing. I think they've only had one loss, correct? Was it to that Nottingham Forest team that they had their first loss? So that's not bad. It was almost an invincible season. But I mean, I think now Liverpool should just start focusing on the Champions League. I think they pretty much have the Premier League secured. I think Salah has to perform big in the Champions League and any other competition that they have left in order to get a Ballon d'Or. That'd be pretty sick though. See, I think this is to be the first time an African wins it since George Weah back in like the 2000s or 90s. So that'd be huge for African football, especially the way that Jamie Carragher disrespected the fucking the AFCON Nations League. So I mean, yeah.
Why? How did he disrespect it?
So pretty much he was like, in a way, he kind of wanted to defend Mo Salah, but at the same time, he disrespected the whole, nation. He was like, oh yeah, it sucks that Mo Salah doesn't play at a big competition, and he's not at Europe,
like Euro or something.
I'm like, dude, you never even won a trophy in your English, in your English career. Don't be talking,
the
man.
Englishman.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, congrats to Liverpool. Congrats to Salah. I mean, but do you want to describe the game?
No, more than describe the game, I want to give a huge shout out to the South American stars in Darwin Nunez and especially Luis Diaz. He is a constant starter, right? For this Liverpool squad. The ex junior player, the ex Barranquilla player, ex Porto, just working his way up, and he's really at the top of the world game right now. He's at the top of the world game, not only with Liverpool, but and also when he represents his country. Colombia is one of the best nations in the world right now for football, reaching the final of the Copa America, and then also doing great in the qualifiers in the South American qualifiers. So huge shout out to them again. When they were Darwin Nunez isn't a starter, a permanent starter for this Liverpool team. He does have other players, they're like Gapco, and
Diogo Jota,
Diogo Jota. That they compete. That's what you should expect from a team like this, right? Where all their players are competing to see who's going to be that star, right? And until one of them can just secure it by based on goals and performances. But a great performance from Darwin this weekend, from what I saw from him, and pairing with just his teammates, but specifically with Luis Diaz on the left wing. Great matchup.
It's that South American DNA, man.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
I'm different. And then just for Southampton, I want to highlight the player that scored. His name is Will Smallbone. I'm not even joking. Look it up.
It's a weird ass name, man. Congrats to him though. He scored against the Liverpool team.
English Premier League goal. You can't do wrong. Elsewhere in the Premier League on Saturday, another game that we followed closely here on this channel, the Brighton against Fulham game, 2-1 victory for Brighton over the Fulham squad of Raul Jimenez. Raul Jimenez actually opened the scoring with a 1-0 goal, or 1-0 goal, obviously opened the score in the away match. Beautiful goal. Great cross from Iwobi, a player, African player who's been on fire this season. He's had a lot of goals and he's had plenty of assists, and he just looks like he does look like a top player when he's on his day. And then so a great cross from him from the right side. He's actually doesn't play on the right side too often, but he looked good there. And then Raul Jimenez, with a great striker's goal, anticipating the cross, controlling with his chest, and then shooting with his wicked foot, in his left foot on a half volley. Just stuck his foot through it. The goalkeeper didn't even see it after it got shot. It crossed the goal, before he could even react. Really, so a great goal. But then, in the match, before the end of the first half, Brighton tied the game, and then late, in the end of the game, a bad penalty, a bad mistake by one of the Fulham defenders, and cost a penalty, and João Pedro took advantage of that, scoring a crucial goal for them in their push to remain as one of the top teams, or one of the higher teams in the mid table, I would say. That was really a mid table fight right there.
But even then, I think the reason why we call this the best league is because you could have 10 teams, or you could have 6 teams fight for the title, which is very rare. But you could have 12 teams fighting for European football, and there's only 5 or 6 spots. Which is so crazy, because you can see a team like Man United tied to Arsenal, but then lose to fucking Southampton. But I think that's what makes this league one of the best and the toughest, because you just gotta be the champion. You gotta be perfect. You gotta be excellent, and that's what Liverpool's doing. But even to not even be relegated, you still gotta put in a fight. But you can look at this team through numbers in the table. You can see one of them's lower, one of them's higher, but it still gives you a very intense and great match. And I think that's why this is one of the best leagues in the world. But to talk about Jimenez, This is the first time he reaches 10 goal or double digits goals in a while. I don't know how long. It might have been like maybe his Wolf days.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, congrats to him. He finally is looking like the old player that he was back in the day. So it's beautiful to see after that horrible injury that he had a couple years ago.
I don't even want to think about it.
I know, man. It was very tough. But I mean, congrats, Raul Jimenez. I don't know if you're watching this, but you're doing it. You keep.
We always believed in you.
I know. You keep putting that Mexican dream alive for a lot of not just Mexicans, but footballers in general to overcome an injury like that. A very serious injury. But yeah, Jimenez had 10 goals. And the season's still not over, so he can still definitely push for more.
Still plenty of games.
Yeah.
Still plenty of games. A lot to play for. They're still in the FA Cup also.
Yeah.
So when Andres says 10 goals, he means only in the Premier League, because he also scored in other competitions in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup. He scored like earlier this, or 2 weeks ago, scoring a goal against Manchester United in the penalty rounds. But yeah, we haven't really touched on. It's been a while since his injury occurred, but it's something that we haven't touched. He had a horrific injury as a Wolverhampton player. It was a game against Arsenal. The Brazilian David Luiz and Raul Jimenez going up for a ball across from a corner kick, and they collided heads, right? And they collided heads. Raul Jimenez took the brunt of it. His skull actually cracked open, and it was a very horrific injury. He's lucky to be alive. He's lucky to be alive. It's a miracle that he's playing, and then now that he's back to playing, obviously he stayed in the Premier League. He was before his injury, he was becoming a prolific goal scorer. He was getting looks from the top teams because he was earning it. Like Andrew said, he was scoring in he had multiple double digit scoring campaigns with Wolverhampton. I think at one of them scored like 17 goals. So it was for a striker, that is a very good,
and for a low team like Wolves as well. Not one of the best teams in the world, but he was still doing it. I always remember that run that they had in the Europa League, losing to the runners up, Inter Milan. But that made me so proud of him. He was putting the team in his back. But yeah, again, to end it off, Raul Jimenez, 10 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah, we are rooting for you. Obviously, as a Mexicano, we want you to do well. We want you to succeed. It's great. It is great watching you. And then obviously for me, as an America fan, just seeing you from being a young player to where you are, in the America Academy, debuting with Miguel Herrera, and just to where you have reached is just incredible. You're a worldwide known player, and you've earned it. So congratulations, on another great season, and hope to see you again next season, scoring again and reporting on you again, man. And then so just to continue on to the in the English Premier League and the coverage of the league, Aston Villa, another team that we highlight often on this team, on this channel, just because of the South American players, and then the level of play that they do have. They beat Brentford 1-0 as an away match with a young English player, Ollie Watkins, scoring their goal. He could have had more goals, I think. He could have had more goals. I don't know if it's his decision making or what, but when I was watching this game, I was like, he should have had more goals.
Yeah, I think that's the question with. I think that was the whole debate on who should start between John Duran and Ollie Watkins. And looking back at it, it kind of seems that they might have made the wrong decision. I think financially, maybe not, but looking at it, I mean, Duran was only like 19, 20, and he looked very confident scoring goals from like 40, 30 yards. But yeah, I think it's a weird situation because you had a out of form Ollie Watkins compared to last season. He was obviously one of the top candidates to be a number 9 for England in the Euros, and he had a very, very good season last year, having I think double or triple digit goals and assists. But yeah, this season looks like he's a very different story for Ollie Watkins. But yeah, I mean, what can you say other than Aston Villa getting the win? Hopefully this goal gives Ollie Watkins more confidence leading into maybe a World Cup call-up, or even anything more that he can achieve, maybe even going to a higher club than Aston Villa. But yeah, I mean, to get a win against Brentford at away, it's pretty tough. But I mean, they get the result, they get the 3 points, and I mean, I don't think you can ask for anything else.
Yeah, no, important for them. They are currently a Champions League squad,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they want to continue to play in Europe. So important win for them. And as far as Ollie Watkins, again, I think he should have. He needs to learn to be more clinical, right? I think maybe the loanee players like Marco Asensio and Marcus Rashford arriving at this club might do him some good if they're serious, and if those two players are serious and they can show him how world class players train and they're how how they carry themselves. It could be good for Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins also continuing to be called up for the English team, so he's also in the presence of those great players that they have playing currently for England. A lot of them are among the best in the world, so it's good for him to continue to call up, but he needs to take his opportunities both here at Aston Villa and in the English national team. And then just to kind of recap some of the other scores in the English Premier League from this weekend, Crystal Palace beating Ipswich Town 1-0. Wolverhampton and Everton 1-1 tie at Wolves at the Molineux. Chelsea beating Leicester City 1-0. And then just to back to some of the more key matchups that we wanted to cover, Tottenham with a 2-2 draw against Bournemouth. Tottenham kind of rescued this. Yeah. They looked like they were gonna lose the match, right? They went down 2-0 against this Bournemouth team. Very solid Bournemouth team. Very attacking minded squad. A lot of young players, a lot of young talented players, I should say. Also, one of the things that we haven't talked about is this Bournemouth team. Julian Araujo. Actually, this is his team, but he's been injured for the good part of the season. Almost a season-ending injury. There was a lot of expectations on him being transferred from Barcelona to this Bournemouth team. We're hoping he can get some English Premier League action, but we're gonna have to wait a little bit. He's been hurt. But this Bournemouth team, don't sleep on Bournemouth. They have again young, talented players. They're playing very well. And they look like they were gonna take the victory here. But Tottenham able to crawl back and rescue something.
I mean, I don't know if it's a good game for Tottenham. I mean, they're playing home, and yes, they are playing a pretty tough Bournemouth team, especially this season. But yeah, I mean, to rescue the point in the last couple minutes of the game, it's kind of disappointing. I think, especially with a lot of the key players coming back from injury. I mean, you have Vicario going back in the net. Obviously, you have their new signing, Kevin Danso, who's actually on loan from Lens. And you still have some players who are playing in their actual position. You have Archie Gray. But yeah, I mean, it's still not looking good for Tottenham and for Ange Postecoglou. I think we've talked about this a lot, whether he's going to keep his job, if he's going to possibly even be sacked even before the season ends. But yeah, I mean, like you were saying with Bournemouth, they have a lot of future talent in their team, and one of that I want to speak on is Dean Huijsen, I believe so. He is from the Netherlands, but I think he's chosen to represent Spain. So I'm just thinking of in the next 10 years, we're going to see Pau Cubarsí and Dean Huijsen in the back line, and it looks dangerous. Something that's kind of sick that reminds me of that Piqué and Sergio Ramos is obviously Pau Cubarsí playing in Barcelona, and there are reports that Dean Huijsen might go to Real Madrid. So that's scary hours for Real Madrid, getting a young defender who looks brilliant. He has a lot of confidence. He's already been such a big impact at Bournemouth, only at 19 years old. So yeah, I mean, I hope his career keeps flying. I hope he can keep improving, even though he's that good already at only 19. But yeah, I mean, you also have Milo Kerkez, who's a left back. Obviously, Liverpool are looking at him. And yeah, you just have a lot of main good talent in this team who are, again, just like Nottingham Forest, they're working well as a unit. And I think David Ireola is doing a great job with Bournemouth. I think this is actually his first year in the Premier League, I believe so, if not maybe the second. So yeah, I mean, for him to make a big statement like debut season as a Bournemouth manager. It's really impressive. But yeah, I think this Bournemouth team are going to want to push for European football, maybe Conference League or Europa League. But either way, I think it's such a huge achievement from I think last season. They were pretty much a team that were fighting for relegation or trying to stay up. But yeah, I mean. What do you have?
No, yeah, Milos Kerkez, to me, one of the players to highlight just from the season.
Yeah,
he has looked confident, dangerous. He looked like he has his purpose there on the left back. He was actually involved in the first goal for Bournemouth with the winning the ball. In their area, in the defending area, driving it all the way down, and then just a great cross for Trevier, I believe, to score. Also a beautiful goal, a beautiful finish. But a lot of credit to that cross from Kerkez, and again he looks a threat.
Yeah.
Again, just to highlight the on the American side on the pitch this weekend during this game, the Brazilian Evan Nilsson also scoring a goal, and then the American Tyler Adams. I think he's the captain for Team USA most of the time. So important for him to also continue to play in the Premier League and gain the experience and everything that comes with being an English Premier player.
Yeah.
For Tottenham Hotspurs, the Argentinian Cristian Romero and the Uruguayan Betancourt also starting for those teams. So great news for South America. And then just to round off the weekend of the coverage here for the English Premier League, another key matchup that gets highlighted every year. This year, maybe not as a lot
exciting
of expectations on it because of the quality of one specific team.
Yeah.
Manchester United against Arsenal, a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford. Just kind of a mundane game. It wasn't really nothing special, I guess. Especially the one Manchester United doesn't bring that out of you currently to where you're expecting to see great football, and then Arsenal just their title hopes kind of slipped and with a victory from Liverpool. So you figure not a lot to play for in this match. Still a decent match because the two teams are fairly big and they have
pretty interesting and good rivalry for decades and decades. Even,
and the quality of players.
Yeah, and the quality of players. Well, not Man United, but you got quality players.
Bruno Fernandes quality showed.
Yeah. Except for him, I think he's the only valid player there.
His quality showed in the 45th minute, almost at the end of the first half, with a nice free kick strike beating Raya and climbing over the wall and scoring to open the game up and just open the scoring, right?
Yeah.
And then another great goal. If you're a Declan Rice fan, great goal from Declan Rice. Whipping it to Onana's right post and possible for Onana to make a play and just another good goal. Very impressed by Declan Rice, actually. I wasn't a huge fan. I'm really not a huge fan of the Englishman. I think he's not as fast as a modern midfielder should be, but he's proven me wrong, right? He's had great performances at Arsenal this campaign. Obviously a huge signing. He was a very expensive coming from West Ham. A lot of money they spent on him, but he has been showing his quality. He's still a young player. He's a national team player as well. One of the for sure starters in the English squad, Declan Rice. And then for Arsenal, doesn't score a lot of goals, but he's crucial in a lot of their play. And he does have goals in him. Obviously, this is his second goal in the Premier League, but I know he scored in Champions League as well. So good on him to continue to show what he's capable of.
Yeah, I mean, it's just disappointing because we have to rely on one of our best midfielders to score a goal. And again, I think it's just our opportunity to win another league just keeps falling, and I don't know what is up with this team. I mean, it's not going to get easier. It's not going to get Arsenal. I feel like they're just waiting for the right moment for. They waited for City to fall this year, but guess what? Liverpool showed up. They showed up to the occasion. It just sucks that our signings and the way we're more robotic than we were ever, and that's not helping Arteta's case with playing Mikel Merino as a striker and having to rely on a 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri to perform big. You know, we need to make signings. We need to change a lot of this team. We need to remove some of the old players you did your job. You did your job at Arsenal. I thank you, Leandro Trossard, for having an amazing, last season. But we need to look in the future. You know, it sucks because as an Arsenal fan, the last time we won a league was almost 20 years ago. It was when I was born. I never seen Arsenal win a league. You know, but still. The last 3 years were the closest we've ever been, but yet we slip up. The first time, maybe okay, yeah. It was the first time in a long time that we actually competed for the league with extremely young players. They shined. Okay, that's fine. Next season, we get Havertz. Why? Who in the? Yes, thank you for scoring 10 goals. As a professional, but dude, we need more quality players. When Bukayo Saka is out, we have to rely on Nwaneri. When Kai Havertz is out and Jesus is out, we have to rely on a midfielder in Mikel Merino. Like, dude, no, we need to have better structure. We need to have a lot. And that's what sucks because we're tied to a Man United team. And the person who scored was Declan Rice. This is no shade to Declan Rice, but dude, it just sucks being on the Arsenal side, man. Like, it's just time and time again. A lot of injuries, but we slip up. We slip up. And we could have lost this game as well. Last minute, David Raya had to make a crucial save to keep us in the game. We could have lost this game 2-1, which is embarrassing again,
Are you surprised they don't give more participation to Raheem Sterling?
I mean, look, this isn't the Raheem Sterling from City. It's not even from the Chelsea. This is Arsenal's Raheem Sterling. Yes, back in the day, he was quality. And this is no shade. I mean, dude, you could look at the numbers, even though, numbers tell a different story. But still, in Pep's system, he's the third highest goal scorer in all of Pep's teams. Yeah, that's Lewandowski's, that's Messi's, that's all that. So his name and his quality that he has as a player, it's there. But he's 28. He's turning 29. He's not the same, even what he was at City. It's difficult. But I also do believe it's the amount of times he's played. He's been a professional since he was like 17, 16. So right. A lot of those games are going to catch up to him. He's going to be, I think they progress lower as the age they get, as they get older. But I mean, even though still, do you really expect this version of Raheem Sterling to help this Arsenal team to win a league,
Yeah.
Even to perform in the Champions League? That's why it's just so disappointing. If I don't see a striker coming in and another winger, a younger winger, because let's be honest as well, Martinelli hasn't been performing like he was a couple years ago, and that's what you need, players and quality players to have these other players in the team to perform, to step up. Okay, you're losing your spot. You better fight for it. If not, you're going to fall down in the pecking order. That's what sucks. Like, I feel like our defense is finally there, but then now, again, we slip up with our forwards,
I personally, I don't think Arsenal's in that bad of a position. They do, obviously they do. There are key positions where they can improve on their signings. But, in hindsight, they're still second in the league. They're in, they're gonna go through in the round of 16 Champions League. So again, they can get better at picking up some certain players in key positions. But don't hold high hopes, because from watching Arsenal from years, they don't tend to do that. They develop their players. So just be aware. At least don't say I didn't tell you. Because trust me, I'm a huge Arsenal fan too. They have lost their way a bit with the style of play that they used to bring, but I don't think they still they're still in that category of team that's more of a developing team, and so it's tough. It's tough for fans. All your good players, you just see them leave.
I can just rant about this for fucking hours, but no, let's keep this podcast going.
So And again, you know, if you want to talk about lack of quality in its squad, let's bring up Manchester United.
Yeah.
Rasmus Højlund missing clear opportunities against the goal. He doesn't even get a shot off. He allows for defenders to get back on time to rip the ball away from him. So it's just inexplicable.
To be fair, though, I mean, you're going against one of the best defenses in the world, especially with Gabriel, Jesus, and Gabriel, and then obviously Saliba. So it's difficult. But yeah, I mean, we said this before.
He's not the answer.
Højlund does not look like the answer. He doesn't
Yeah.
look like the solution. So
Yeah.
they definitely got to look in the market as well.
Yeah, and then just to highlight the players for these teams that hail from South America, Gabriel Martinelli the Brazilian coming off the bench for Arsenal, and then for Manchester United, the Argentinian Alejandro Garnacho, a starter. The Brazilian Casemiro, also a starter. And that just kind of rounds off the action from the South American side for this premier matchup. The last game of match day 28 is tomorrow. A pretty exciting game between West Ham and Newcastle United. West Ham, the team with Edson Alvarez's team, he is expected to play. He is a current starter for the West Ham, a crucial player for them in the midfield. And then Newcastle with just a lot of talented players. Alexander Isak, one of the best players in the Premier, a prolific goal scorer. So highly recommend watching that game tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. One of the things we didn't get into in La Liga, nephew, is just looking ahead into next week, into the next week's action. Let's do that with the English Premier League. Okay. We possibly will go back and just highlight the games that we want to talk about next week in La Liga. So next week in the English Premier League, Everton against West Ham United on Saturday. Another one of the key matchups that we'll bring to you guys. Action for Manchester City against Brighton, Bournemouth against Brentford, Arsenal against Chelsea. One of the matchups that will likely go into depth next week. It is a London derby. They're crosstown rivals. A lot of these teams are from London, if you guys have not noticed. Also, a matchup within the city of London, Fulham against Tottenham. And then on Sunday, Leicester City will host Manchester United. That's pretty much the match day 29 for the English Premier League. I think we'll before we jump ahead, let's go back into the matches coming up for La Liga. Again, you do have the Espanyol against Girona tomorrow. That'll end match day 27, and then looking into the future of match day 28, another crucial week with just the league heating up here towards the end of the league. Leganés will host Real Betis. This is one of the Sunday matches, and then just a lot of the more important matches will be on Sunday with I'm not seeing Real Madrid. Excuse me. Real Madrid against Villarreal on Saturday. So the number 2 team definitely need to continue to push. Real Madrid need to take a win from El Submarino Amarillo, the Villarreal squad on Saturday. But then on Sunday, the important match of the week, Atletico Madrid hosting Barcelona. A very tough week for Atletico Madrid. They have Real Madrid midweek. They lost this weekend. Then they have to play against Real Madrid, and then on the weekend they'll host Barcelona. So this could be, this is going to be a very important week in Los Colchoneros campaign.
Yeah, because they also have to face Barcelona for the rematch in the Copa del Rey. So in general, this team is going to have to perform big. They have to come up big if they really are a serious team. So Atletico is going to have a hard couple weeks or 2 weeks. Let's see if they really can step up and fight for the title, fight for a trophy.
Well, there you go. I'm glad we went back and looked at the upcoming matches. A very important match next Sunday in La Liga. Atletico Madrid in Madrid will host Barcelona. the league leaders. So look out for that one. And again, we'll bring you the results and our thoughts and some of the action from that match. And then just moving on to kind of recap or round off the action in Europe. The Serie A, important for us because there's a couple of Mexican players with participation in the Serie A. In the Serie A, of course, the Italian top division in football. And then just the match from the weekend featuring Mexican players. Calgary hosting Genoa with a 1-1 tie, and the Mexican Joan Vasquez starting that match for Genoa, but unable to help his team secure 3 points in that matchup. They end up with a 1-1 tie. And then elsewhere in Serie A, with action from the North American players, Lecce hosting AC Milan, with AC Milan, the team from Milan, taking the 3 points from Lecce at Lecce Stadium. Santi Jimenez, the Mexican striker, starting the match for AC Milan, not able to get on the score sheet, but still helping his team, taking the 3 points. Christian Pulisic, the American midfielder, also playing for this AC Milan team, also a starter. He was able to get on the score sheet twice, scoring 2 goals, and then again, being a crucial player for the Serie A AC Milan team. And then just to round off the action in the Serie A, the league leaders Inter Milan with a 3-2 victory over Monza, just helping their title aspirations and continue to push forward. And they look like they're gonna take the league this season.
Yeah, it's a very hot race right now. So looking at it correctly, there's 3 teams that are possibly fighting for the league. You have Inter, who we were talking about, who have 61 points. And you have Napoli, who are right behind them with only 60 points at second. And then you have Atalanta, who are very, very intense team with only 58 points, only, I think, around 4 points behind or 3 points behind first. So it is definitely a league that is very heating up. You have the same thing with La Liga. You have 3 teams who are at the top fighting for the Serie A. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm always like catching up every weekend, hearing if Napoli slipped up, if Inter win, if Atalanta continue to fight for the league. So it's a very, very interesting league and title this year.
Atalanta pretty much saw off Juventus' title hopes this weekend. They beat Juventus 4-0 at Juventus. A very impressive win. It was number 3 against number 4, but they widened. Atalanta was able to widen that gap, and you said, stay in the title race. And just a very important win for them.
I think that is also Juventus' first loss in Serie A. So it is a very weird team. They have a lot of ties in this season, but I believe they get their first loss against Atalanta, and what a way to lose 4-0 at home. But yeah, I mean, congrats to Juventus for holding it that long, but still it doesn't look like it's enough for them to really push for the league. I mean, they are 9 points away from Inter Milan, so it's going to be very difficult to catch up. But I think their main mission is just getting Champions League football. They're not really the best squad around, but I think there's still a team that's trying to look for their identity back,
Atalanta starting the Colombian Cuadrado, the Italian Argentinian Rutegui, and then the Brazilian Ederson. And then for the Juventus team, 2 American players, Timothy Weah, Weston McKennie, starting in that match. So just important for those gentlemen. Also the Argentinian Nicolas Gonzalez, and starting for them as well. So I want to highlight those guys as well.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna wrap it up for the European show. We want to thank you guys for joining and listening in. As always, we really appreciate you guys taking their time and giving us some time to get in your ear. Andrew, you want any words to sign off?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you so much for listening. Please follow, subscribe, comment, and share our videos. It means a lot to us, and it's free. So have a good night.
Bye-bye.